Mansions are coming to GTA Online this December, and players are already disappointed with Rockstar. Today, we'll be diving in to reveal the truth about the Mansions DLC update, separating the facts from the fiction, and coming to the conclusion of if things are really as bad as they seem. Here we are in front of Devin Weston's mansion in GTA Online, and I wanted to start here for the sake of this video and also hop onto this character so you can actually see the icon pop up on the map, because if you've already done the 3 new listings missions that released just the other week here, you know, the icon goes away, but you can replay the mission. So you can see the pre-luxury real estate icon. This is Devin Weston's mansion. This is where you could get started technically early with the Mansions DLC. This is all stuff that we've known about, and this is sort of one of the topics we're going to be covering in this video. I just wanted to start off here just to show you this property, because more or less this is already one of the confirmed mansions that we're getting with this update. Not this literal property here. We are not taking Devin Weston's mansion literally behind us, but essentially what we're getting, and what appears to be what we've already seen confirmed in the teaser trailer, is more of a slightly updated version of this exact property. So we're just gonna fly around, and I want to show you guys a few things, because if you've seen the trailer, you could see the updated version of this mansion. Basically, there are some small little changes just in the general facade of the actual mansion itself. The pool area is slightly stretched out, and there's also a hot tub around where I'm flying. Out here, there's like a circle area. It's basically not like an infinity pool because it's a hot tub and there's like a walkway around it and a place to sit, but you have a hot tub that juts out on this corner of the actual deck. And what's crazy is there's no like supporting structure underneath, so it's crazy how like you could actually sit there. I would not want to do that in real life, but either way, what we're seeing here with Devin Weston's mansion is already one of the confirmed properties. You already have a very similar staircase with all this type of landscaping and decor and whatnot. The skeletal structure of the mansion, the foundation system, the overall vibe and appearance of the mansion is more or less exactly the same with what we're getting with the new mansion and this one itself. Obviously, the Mansions DLC, like I said, it's going to feature the updated version. But this begs the question of the first topic that I want to topple in this video and talk about is why only 3 mansions? We have that news, and we got that essentially with the newswire as well. There will be 3 mansion locations in this DLC, and that's one of the main things that players are disappointed in hearing about, because they heard about the Mansions DLC and they're wondering why only 3 locations. Well, I just realized I still had the project from my stream open, so I just changed to the gameplay recording to get rid of the extra graphics and stuff that I use for the stream, so apologies about that. But why only 3 mansions? Why were we only expecting 3 mansions in the first place? Well, again, literally just based off the leaks themselves, it showed 3 potential locations with the construction sites where mansions would be constructed. And now we have, you know, the new listings missions you can see over there on the driveway with that little palm real estate icon. Those are the introductory missions to those locations. And so everything that we've received so far with the news, with the 3 missions that we've known that are coming to the game themselves, as well as the new newswire that talked about mansions and like officially confirming from Rockstar that mansions are coming to the game in the December DLC. All of that is nothing new, technically. It's all stuff that we've known since Money Fronts. All of these leaks have come from the Money Fronts DLC. The day Money Fronts released, various leakers and data miners like Lucas7Yoshi on Twitter and various others, you know, dug into the files, found these mansion references. So this mansion update wasn't talked about because people all of a sudden brought that topic back to the forefront in discussion with the community and was like, okay, we want to see mansions. This whole thing got started because we had actual concrete leaks pointing to mansions potentially releasing in the game due to these setup missions. We knew that these 3 setup missions were coming to the game, and we knew that those various construction sites over there were also going to be coming to the game when those mansion intro missions that you could see over there on the map we're getting teased, and now we have both. So all of that stuff we've known since the summer update, and now it's all in game. So nothing is new in regards to that front. The only new information that we've learned from the trailer itself, that small 15-second Safe House in the Hills teaser trailer, was the inside look or the sneak peek preview and teaser of those cars that are coming, the various cars on the street, which, you know, I haven't really talked about specifically yet, but we're not really going to be talking about that in this video necessarily because it isn't about the trailer itself. But the only new information that was revealed in the trailer was, you know, the full official look at the updated mansion. We didn't know if it was going to be basically a copy and paste of Devin Weston's mansion exactly, or if it was going to be that updated version that was found essentially in the game files already that we've known about. And now we saw it confirmed, used as marketing material in the trailer itself. That's all we've known about so far about the mansions, and that's all that's been revealed to us so far So there's no rug pull yet. I don't know necessarily where the disappointment is coming from with that, because all the news that's been confirmed by Rockstar thus far is already stuff we've known about. If you've been excited for mansions coming into the game, then odds are you've heard about the leaks and looked into them, watched a video on them, seen them firsthand for yourself and researched them, or some combination of the two, which means you've known about this stuff the whole time. So I don't know why it's like a surprise disappointment necessarily. I could see it being a surprise disappointment if you let your expectations get the best of you and then you started to think a million other things that were never going to happen were going to start to happen because of that. But again, that's just where people get carried away, I guess. And that kind of leads me to the next topic of how these mansions will function. Because like I said, if you saw the trailer, you know that we're essentially getting Devin Weston's mansion in, you know, sort of a quote-unquote 2.0 version, an overhauled version with minor exterior changes, and obviously there's going to be the interior of the property you can access. But how is that actually going to function? How will we go and transition from the exterior of, like, let's say this is that new mansion that we saw in the trailer. How will we go from this exterior of the property to the interior? How will a public space be handled? Well, I don't think there will be one in the free roam necessarily. Also, there's music going on inside this. I am gonna need to mute the game for the purposes of this. So let's say you roll up, and obviously we know from the various teasers and stuff like that, the driveway is very, very similar, slightly updated with new textures and slight variations, but like what you see with Devin Weston's mansion is essentially almost to a T what you're gonna see with the new one, obviously with those slight tweaks I keep mentioning. But let's say you pull up to your mansion. The mansion's update releases, this is the property you purchased. Well, it's probably going to function like any other normal property. You have that little corona here where you enter through the front door and you go into the property itself. Next, you're inside the property. You can go to your bedroom, you can go to the kitchen, you can go to the bathroom, you could, you know, access your garage from there. You can access all the interior options, whatever those are. Quite frankly, for the purposes of this explanation in this video, I'm not even concerned about talking about that and speculating about it. But I can't see this update functioning any different, where you have that separated instance property interior, just like your CEO office, any of your apartments, whether they're penthouses, normal apartments, or the stilt homes. When you enter your interior property, you're not in this free roam session. You are in a separate area, either way up in a skybox with a spawned interior property, or you're below the map. Like quite literally, if you use mods to detach from where you are, you get teleported from this section where you enter the property, right? There's the yellow or blue corona that pops up. You enter your property, whatever property that may be, and you get teleported to that new location, which is supposed to be the interior of this place, but it's not literally the interior of this building. It could be way up in the sky, it could be way below the map. You're completely removed from the online session. So when you see in the trailer and you see that character in the backyard who walks essentially out of the back windows, players are wondering, okay, that seems pretty cool. Does that mean we're gonna be able to go and seamlessly transition from the exterior to the interior and interior to the exterior? Not necessarily, because I could see them handling it in one of a few ways. You go to the interior and you have the interior, and then, you know, you look outside the window and you could see this balcony, but just like the stilt homes, you can't get out on the balcony itself. Well, that would be really stupid, right? I doubt Rockstar's gonna do that, because that would just piss everyone off. It's nonsensical. There's no point of having a Mansions DLC and having an updated exterior property and just changing this in the free roam lobby if you can't actually access this whole area while you're still technically inside of your mansion, right? But they also can't make it a quite literal seamless transition where the player in that trailer is walking out of these windows and these sliding glass doors and they just walk out into their backyard, because if they do that, they still need to keep it separate from the free roam lobby. If you're able to just walk out of your mansion here, there's no differentiating factor and distinctive nature of your property, where if I own it and you own it at the same time, you know, we're both going to be walking in and out of each other's property. That just makes no sense. From a coding perspective, that's also just not how it's going to work out. There has to be some distinguishing factor. The way Rockstar designs interiors in this game is you get teleported to that separate section. That's why every player in the lobby can technically own the same location, and you never see them inside of your business because you're in a totally separate, quote unquote, instance session, basically. Not a separate lobby, but an instanced actual location that you've been teleported to. And so my interior property is separate from yours, who's separate from someone else's, etc. And so there could be two ways to handle it. The interior and the exterior are handled separately when this DLC releases, or what's very likely is you could be flying around here. Let's say, you know, you own your mansion, you're chilling by the pool, or even if you're inside of your property, and I roll up and I start flying over, and I'll unmute the game so we get some game audio again. But I roll up to your mansion, I'm looking at it like I am right now, and I start launching missiles at it. You don't see any of this happen because you're not actually in the free roam lobby. You're in your own instanced location of this. You've been teleported, and this is just the shell. This is like the lore of where you actually live in the mansion, but you're physically, your character has been teleported somewhere way detached from this actual map, even if you're in the same session. And so that's probably what it's going to be, I would imagine, both interior as well as exterior, which means you can't just roll up and see a bunch of people all hanging out at one mansion outside. I mean, you could literally just all meet up here and stand around like I am right now, but if you access someone's property, like you could get invited and pulled to another player's, whether it's business or apartment, that will be separate. So you could go in through the front door, even go in through the side gate if they add that or something, and that counts as your entrance to the property. It could even be the garage entrance, right? I would imagine we'll see a garage entrance, we'll see the front door, and maybe even, you know, a side gate or something like that that they add here, like a little iron gate you go through to access the rear of the property. But once you go through any of those entrances, both the interior as well as this walkway outside, this whole place that's surrounded by these glass fences, essentially, these glass barriers, that's all counted as one property. Even though you're technically outside, it's the same way of you looking out the window of your apartment. You don't see the actual session happening before your very eyes. You see a display of where that location quite literally is on the map, but it's just a projection. It's not actually the reality of what's happening in the session. And when you're in an interior anyway, people can't equip their weapons, and you're also invincible technically, so you can't die. Someone can't just roll up on you, launch bombs at you, and kill you inside of your property unless they're using mods to kill your character through the use of the mod menu. But they can't just pull out their AK and shoot you because Rockstar doesn't allow you to use weapons, and they don't allow you to technically die by any normal player, legitimate player means. So that's the other topic I wanted to discuss, because I highly doubt that you're just going to be able to roll up to someone's mansion and engage with all the amenities of said mansion without entering through their property, where you get triggered to their instanced property location, you get teleported there, and now you and I could be here at the mansion together, and we can walk around, we can jump in the pool. You know, in the actual mansion that releases, you know, the updated version, you have the hot tub that's going to be over here on this right corner of the deck. You can use that. You can walk back inside through, you know, where those sliding glass doors that are up here, I guess in the trailer, I forget if they're more on the left side or the right or in the middle, but either way, you could see that snippet of the character walking outside seamlessly from the interior. That's why the whole property, from this whole barrier right here, is going to be staged off. You can't jump over it. You're not going to be able to, you know, jump over it like I can here. You know, if I wanted to jump over it, I can. Poof. When you're in your own property, just like how you can't sprint in your own property. You can sprint in some businesses, you can't sprint in your own apartment, right? That whole thing, just like you can't break the windows of your apartment and jump out the window and fall to your death. That's not going to happen with this mansion either. You just won't be able to leave. You will have to go back inside and leave through the front door, go through the garage, or go through this side gate exit, right? It's going to be completely closed off. That's, again, what do I know, right? It is speculation on my part, but let's be realistic here. It's going to function just like every other business and every other location. Same with the LS Car Meet. Rockstar advertised that as a public HQ, a headquarters, a public meetup space, yet you still get teleported inside of the LS Car Meet and you go to a completely separate area. The only difference between that as well as somewhere else is you can actually have two players in that location. So if you go into the public session, the LS Car Meet is technically one location that everyone gets brought to. Whereas just like, you know, every apartment, every player's apartment of the same location is separate. But if every player in the lobby wanted to access the same player's apartment, they could, and you'd see each individual player there. So I think this whole section is going to be closed off. I can't just land here and see everyone hanging out. Meanwhile, everyone could be chilling in the pool in that property. I just won't see them until I go through that front door and then come to the backyard and hang out with them. But if I just fly over, it's just going to look like a dead, static mansion here with absolutely no life whatsoever, because it's just a property that you haven't entered in yet. Just like I can't see what someone's doing inside of their CEO office if I fly by their Maze Bank Tower window, or I can't see what someone's doing in their penthouse if I fly by their penthouse apartment window either. And for topic number 3, I wanted to come over to probably what I think players will be. I don't know if this will be the most popular mansion location. There's also the one next to Mini Madrazo's house, where you also have the pre-luxury real estate icon. You have the 3 various construction sites. This is one, and this almost looks like it could be where 2 mansions could be, because one could jut off the side here, and then the other could jut off this sort of cliff here. And if you look in the trailer, Rockstar also seems like they're going to be slightly changing the geography of the map. Not extremely, but like they'll just be adding extra landmass along the hill here to make room for the mansion. The only thing we don't know is if that same mansion that was shown in the teaser trailer is going to be the same one that takes place here, as well as the one in the other 2 construction site zones. If there's going to be 3 different ones, we don't have anything in the game files that alludes to that, but we already knew what one looked like, so that may not be good news if you're hoping for 3 distinct locations. But the last thing I wanted to talk about for this segment of the video necessarily isn't about the mansions and the actual property. I just wanted to show you the construction site, but it's what other content are we getting with this DLC? That's what I'm more concerned over. We've known about the mansions for a while. This mansion news is almost 6 months old. It's old news. I don't care personally about that anymore. I just want to get the property already and start moving on with my money grind. But what I'm concerned about mostly here, and you can let me know if this is a concern for you, if you just want the property itself, are we going to get a business attached to this? Will there just be a mission storyline and quest line to follow? What about heists? Even if they're mini ones, like the salvage yard vehicle robberies, or auto shop contracts, or the garment factory FIB files, like what else are we going to be getting? And I have a few ideas on possibilities. I'm gonna opine a little bit on it, because once again, I feel like there's only a few different directions they can go. What I don't think we're gonna get, or what I highly doubt we'll see here, is an update and a DLC of just the property, just the mansion itself. That's just gonna give us the physical mansion location and some more garage space, and that's it. We don't have any more details on what exactly it'll be so far. We won't get that until we get a full news wire with a full trailer promoting this DLC, which we'll probably see the week after Thanksgiving or within that time period. All we have right now is the teaser trailer, and that's where players' disappointment is coming from, because I guess they were expecting a little bit more than anything that we've already had confirmed so far. And completely okay if you were expecting more, just because as a video game developer, they should continue to keep adding content into the game and making it bigger and better for players. But that's just not the way things have gone in GTA for the past, honestly, 4 years now, ever since the contract, which was the last quote-unquote major DLC in my opinion. And I feel like we go through this cycle twice a year where a lot of people feel like we're gonna get a massive DLC update get added to the game, and it never is a really big update, and players are almost just kidding themselves. They're almost fooling themselves. They're getting themselves hyped up in a way that they shouldn't. Nothing wrong about getting hyped for some new content. I love this game. You love this game. We all love playing this game, or hopefully we all loved playing it in the past, right? And so you want to see the developers add good content into the game, and especially a Mansions DLC that we've wanted for so long. They should knock it out of the park. But at the same time, it's been so long since we've had a major update. I don't know why this one would have been any different, especially once we already got the leaks of what the Mansions DLC was sort of gonna look like, and we knew it was gonna be just 3 new locations, and one of them was gonna be a reskin of Devin Weston's mansion, essentially, in terms of the outside appearance of it. That should have already set an expectation of, like, you know, well, Rockstar's not gonna have anything crazy for this DLC, right? But what I'm really concerned about is what else we're getting, because again, I don't think it's gonna be the property itself and that's it. What I'm hoping for is we get, you know, some sort of business attached to it, whether we can run a business out of the mansions, you know, say if it's an updated master control terminal, that would be cool to run our other businesses, or even something else entirely where, you know, okay, we moved into the mansion, we have the mansion, we're a pretty high profile figure in the lore of GTA, there's gonna be other enemies that want to come after us and take our property, whatever the case is. There's also some chatter of a movie called Safe House in the Hills, or it's just called House in the Hills, I believe. I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's a movie or a TV show or something like that, but the icon and the logo of the Safe House in the Hills update for GTA is basically a copy and paste parody version of it. And so maybe that'll be some sort of mission storyline. So whether it's going to be like First Dose Last Dose, where we have a solo business associated with it as well as a mission set, or if it's just a mission quest line for you to follow, or if we also get, you know, quote unquote mini heist attached to it, something that are multi-stage, you know, 2 setups and a finale with a payout at the end, like an auto shop contract or salvage yard robbery or garment factory FIB file, something like that, right? I could see almost the idea that there's going to be some sort of storyline attached to this to progress the lore of the free roam version of GTA Online, progress our character's story a little bit more. Whether that's important to you or not, I'm not really sure. I don't know if that kind of online stuff really matters, but I doubt we're going to see just the property, right? That would be lame. Again, I don't have any inside knowledge on if that's actually going to be the case, and I could just, you know, eat my words later. But I mean, if you think about it, why would they just release the mansion property where it's just a physical location with some garage space and some cars with the update, right? There's gonna be some missions attached to it, some way to make money, some way to get your financial investment that you spent on the mission or on the mansion back. I don't know how we died right there. I was so far away from that grenade, but maybe I wasn't as far away from it as I thought. But either way, I do believe we will see some sort of way to make money with this business, or with this mansion. Excuse me, I keep mixing up my words here because I'm kind of looking at my notes while I play through this. Some sort of way to make money, whether it's like a salvage yard-esque robbery, whether it's an actual solo-friendly business, sort of like the Acid Lab, or whether it's, you know, some other distinct business, or if it's just a mission set, like the San Andreas Mercenaries update, where you play missions out of your Avenger, or the ULP missions, where you go to that location to start the missions, or the casino missions, etc. Hopefully it's not just that. Hopefully if it is a mission set and that's it, that's associated with the Mansions DLC, hopefully there's a nice payout at the end, like you would get playing through the Cluckenbell Farm Raid, or the Oscar Guzman Flies Again storyline. Hopefully it's not just normal contact missions that pay you out on a mission by mission basis, and you make no money from it. If you invest in the yacht and you can play the yacht missions, the yacht will cost you $10 million and you can play through missions, and that's about it. But there's no real, like, if there was another business with the yacht DLC, like, you know, like you'd get with the Acid Lab and the First Dose Last Dose, where you have that quest line to play through and you get the Acid Lab at the end of it, that's really nice. That's what made the First Dose, or the Drug Wars DLC, really nice in my opinion. So hopefully we see some sort of lasting money-making business that we can use to grind into the future, because for the last 4 years, ever since the contract came out, it's been, I mean, in many players' opinions, it's been absolute dog water. It's been mid-content. But it's the stuff that I've personally enjoyed most. Playing through, like, my daily grind, besides Bunker, besides Acid Lab, besides Nightclub, the stuff that players were already doing in public sessions years ago, right? I mean, obviously the Acid Lab came out over the past few years, but like the Bunker, the Nightclub, stuff like that, that was 2017, 2018. What else were you doing back then while you were waiting for your passive businesses to produce? Nowadays, we have the auto shop contracts to run as active grinding content in the meantime. The salvage yard vehicle robberies with the tow truck missions, the I already said auto shop contracts, the garment factory FIB files, the car wash, the smoke on the water smoke shop, the Higgins Helitors businesses. There's all those different activities you can do for active grinding content, actual missions to play, ways to earn money in the game actively while you wait for your passive businesses to produce, passive businesses that we've already had in this game for years and years and years. So hopefully we have more active ways to play the game. Maybe we'll get something along the lines of something a little bit more passive, because the last quote-unquote passive business we've seen, or semi-passive, was the Acid Lab. That'll be, you know, essentially 3 years old when this winter DLC comes out. So who knows? Let me know in the comments what you're excited to see with the Mansions DLC, though. What do you think it's going to entail? Have you been disappointed with the news so far? Do you think we're going to get anything else? Do you think it's going to be a big deal or not? If it's just Mansions, obviously players are going to get sick of it within a day. Realistically, even if we get a business, if we get a storyline to play through, or even some sort of mini heist to play as well, players are still going to call it bad. And they're also going to get bored of it, because that's just what's been happening over the past 4 years. You know why? We need a new game. And the new game has been pushed out by another 6 months. So we have no choice but to play something else, or continue to play what Rockstar is adding to this game. And again, depending on what perspective you have on the game right now, arguable it's good or bad. I still find it fun to play, but this isn't the content that we should be getting at this point. Obviously, we should be continue to get cooler stuff in the game, but Rockstar's full focus is on GTA 6. That is not changing anytime soon, right? This game, essentially, if you want something like the Cayo Perico heist, or the Contract DLC, or the Doomsday heist DLC, that's never gonna happen again. So today's video was definitely more conversational and discussion based, but I just wanted to talk to you guys about my own thoughts on the Mansions DLC, and talk about, you know, sort of setting some sort of expectation here that's realistic, nothing that's blown out of proportion, nothing juvenile, right? If you've been enjoying this game, you'll probably enjoy this update. If you haven't been enjoying the game for the past half decade, odds are you're not going to enjoy this update, even if there is a mansion attached to it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios, amigos.